Bing, bing, we're live. It is the Kent Beck Scrum. We have Sam, we have Michael. I have been just downloading LibreOffice following the marketing meeting, which we had focused exclusively on the Anthony Powell website and membership database paid project for premium members. And yes, I think we kind of agreed an approach for the website using WordPress, and we're looking at options for the membership database, which includes LibreOffice. And yeah, so fun and games there. Main other things I've been doing is like sorting out invoicing, negotiating with our sponsor. Yeah, and I'm doing my taxes. We've got the local support meeting coming up momentarily. Yeah, that's about the size of things. How are things going with you, Michael?
Good. Just doing some other stuff, and was reading last night some about the I posted in the data mining about the deep learning book.
Yes.
And then one of the other Agile ventures mentioned that it's actually a textbook for a machine vision course,
right?
Computer vision course at Stanford, which is actually largely online. So I was looking at some of their lectures and stuff. I think they haven't I don't think they've properly MOOCified it, but they basically released it. Like the homeworks and the lectures and the notes and everything. The homeworks and the data sets and everything are all kind of out there, like on GitHub and stuff.
Right.
So they've more or less released it. They just haven't. I don't think they've done it like in a MOOC format.
Okay. Yeah.
But pretty interesting. What I've seen so far.
Cool.
I watched like the first 2 lectures.
And that's a different course again from the one that Federico's been talking about.
Yeah, Federico's talking about the one from Cal. There's one from Caltech by a guy called Mustafa.
Right.
And it's more about the theory of generalizability of machine learning. So, what affects, bias variance trade-off, VZ dimension. It goes back to like a lot of work that they did in the Soviet Union back, during the Cold War.
Sure. Yeah. And you've managed to read chapter 3 of that other book that we were looking at.
I read chapter 3 and 4 of the book on the practitioner book on data predictive analytics.
So, what are you thinking about the data mining mob at the moment?
Maybe. If we want to do it, to look at what kind of curriculum or whatever, what kind of coverage. I mean, first of all, like what level? Do you know what I mean? Like very focused on just like it depends. Like very focused on there's many different levels you could teach it at, right?
There, indeed. But I think like the other, probably the Elixir Phoenix mob is the best example of, one can start with a course or book and work through that together. And I mean, one can then have a break and do some one-off things and then start on a different course or a different book. So it's kind of, yeah. I mean, it still raises the question where to start. I mean,
there's, if it's a data science mob or whatever, it's a data mining mob.
Well,
slightly different things.
Sure. Well, and I think the key thing is to find something that, I mean, to the extent that it's you or Federico, it doesn't really matter what it is so much as like what you're excited about doing, I would say. Like if you feel, I really would like to work through this thing and I'd like to do it with other people, then that would be really good. I mean, it's sort of...
There's things that I'm more... maybe qualified to talk about.
Sure.
Like based on experience and learning and stuff.
Yeah, at the same time, I think the mobs can be kind of a co-learning process. I don't think one has to be, hugely knowledgeable in the way that one would expect a instructor of a course to be.
Right.
It's I worry that already by saying I don't know if I could necessarily do it, that I've dampened the fires of enthusiasm for it. I mean, I think I would also be very interested to do it, but I don't know that I would be able to carry on doing both the other mobs that I'm doing if I took on another mob. So yes. Anyway, cool.
You could co-instruct it.
I think it's at the moment it's not even a question of co-instructing it or not. It's just like the time in the day.
So
I mean, I could like
attend.
Sorry, to attend. Yeah, I mean,
able to attend.
Yeah, and then the time to be able to attend. I mean, I could, for example, just something else. I'd have to take a chunk, or like for example, not we could say that the scrums, are I don't know.
We could,
go on.
We could make it. Actually, I've had a interest from a friend who's a data scientist. He was saying he maybe, like he said, he'd potentially be interested in.
Oh yeah.
Co-instructing it, but he's actually he also did curriculum for a data science boot camp like a year ago.
Cool.
Like he developed their curriculum.
That sounds awesome.
That probably wouldn't. See, one of the things is that probably wouldn't be like available necessarily during certain parts of the day, although he is kind of available because he like works from home or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think having someone like that involved would be, one, awesome, and two, excite other people to attend. So yeah, that's definitely worth pursuing.
I mean, the other idea I was thinking is maybe it's a radical idea, but if we had it on the weekend.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be able to, I guess you wouldn't be able to attend on the weekend at all.
Well,
it was like a
inconceivable. If it was on Sunday afternoons, my time, then I could maybe attend on some occasions. I mean, I think it's again there. It would be like, I make time on Sunday afternoons for pairing with Marion and so on, but she's not always available. So I mean, if it was on Sunday afternoons, I think it would be difficult for me to commit to being there every week.
Like being the instructor or whatever.
Right. Or taking initiative, but yeah. Anyway, I guess we're getting to the time where I'm going to have to go and start the local sport meeting. Yeah, and interesting to continue thinking about whether tomorrow when we're pairing we could jump onto the async voter, or we could carry on doing things on the community support. So yeah.
Well, it's. I'm just saying because it's related. It's actually related to the community support.
It's related because you think the data that comes from async voter is going to be important for community support.
I think it's potentially important. And
yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Start getting that data.
Yeah. I think yes. There's well, as you say, potentially important. It's a question about whether that source of data gives us anything more important. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess it gives us a way of distinguishing people who are actively involved in projects as opposed to people who are just spending all their time chatting in tech talk and not involved in projects.
And there's and then you could, if we get GitHub, we could compare I have a lot of ideas, basically maybe people that are on GitHub that are not as actively involved in a their code's not showing up in the repo, but they're maybe in a channel for project talking, and maybe they're so holding votes. So maybe they're more like a project manager,
maybe
or some kind of ministerial, and that might have some effect on how their profile looks in our community.
Well, yeah, let's keep chatting. Let's chat about that in data mining, and then make a decision tomorrow when we get started. I've got to go now because otherwise I'll be late to start the local support meeting. I'll see you very soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.